Welcome to another episode of the Sports Shed podcast. I'm your host, Efren. To my left is Jack. To my right is Z. And to his right is Zachary.
What's up, brother?
We're going to go ahead and get started. First, let me just say congratulations to the South Carolina Gamecocks women's basketball team for winning the national title, but more impressively becoming the 10th team in NCAA women's history basketball to go undefeated, going 38-0. That is Dawn Staley's third national title, going along with, I believe, her third consecutive national coach of the year. And there really is nothing much to say. Earlier in earlier episode, I did look at the brackets, and looking down, it was just more like they're just going to go undefeated. It was kind of pretty easy, not necessarily. They did face Iowa, and Caitlyn Clark finished with 30 points, scored 18 in the first quarter, and freshman guard, I believe, at South Carolina held her down, only scoring 12 the rest of the way. But they did put a good effort, and just want to wish Caitlyn Clark and everyone else entering into the WNBA draft good luck. And hopefully Caitlyn Clark, along with the other players, puts WNBA on the map, specifically financially, and hopefully they can not need the NBA down the road. But good luck to all those ladies, and congratulations again to South Carolina for winning the national title.
I put this towards the end because I forgot to bring it up towards March Madness. Exactly, he can cut it in. My women's bracket, it is so good. I only have 10 wrong, and from Sweet 16 and on is perfect. Okay, I'm ranked 1K, so I mean, kudos to me. With my smart brain. All right. I'm gonna have Zach edit that in. With the screenshot. Just thank you all.
Tonight though will be the men's title game between UConn and Purdue. Zach Edey has been going off. I believe he is averaging either at or over 30 points a game, 16 rebounds a game. He is totally dominated. And I just saw earlier today, or read somewhere, that he actually has moved up in the mock draft for the NBA all the way as high as 13. And the UConn center as high as 3rd. Even though some may say this may be one of the weakest, I'm just saying, this is what I read, one of the weakest drafts in recent history in the NBA. But as far as tonight's game, UConn and Purdue, I'm just curious, Jack, who do you have and why?
I got UConn because I hate Purdue. That's it. That's really it. I really do like Tristan Newton, though. I mean, like I said before in the earlier podcast, he was a 0-star recruit. He's one of their best scorers. I mean, he's really good. They're big, obviously. He's been putting up numbers every game. I really don't know how good he's going to do against Zach Edey, though. That's the one thing that I'm worried about. But, I mean, what I've seen so far, I really think UConn can win by double digits. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, the way I look at it is the UConn center, he won't really need to score in order for them to win, but when you look at Purdue, like, he will kind of have to contribute scoring-wise. So I'm interested to see how he'll do against Klingon with that. But, I mean, UConn they've given no sign as to, like, showing that they're going to lose. I mean, every game this tournament, again, by double digits, every victory. So I had UConn winning it in my bracket, and they've shown no reason as to why they're going to lose tonight. But see.
Purdue sucks. Listen, I'm going UConn all day. Zach Edey, man, can that dude do anything besides sit in the paint and just hook shot? Like, honestly. Like, the fact that he's going up in the draft board is ridiculous.
Dude, he's averaging 30 every game.
Why fix what ain't broke?
against
Exactly.
college players, bro.
Okay, but he's averaging 30.
Listen,
That's 30 basically every game.
I hope the Boston Celtics draft Zach Edey, bro.
So you got to look at it like this, though. Every year, there are some players that go crazy in the tournament, and by default, it's going to increase their draft stock. I won't necessarily say he should be up in the lottery, but I can understand, like, if he was a projected second round and he moved up to, late in the first round, like, by default, that's what happens with this tournament. I mean, look at even DJ Burns. Like, I don't know. I don't even know if he might get drafted in the second round, but there's going to be talks about it now because he had such a good run. Like, that's just kind of how it is with this tournament.
Now, I have a question. Do you think Purdue will continue shooting hot? They're shooting 48.9% from the field this tournament. Do you think that will continue? Because I feel like that has to continue in this game because I feel like they're going to double Zach Edey and they're going to try to get the ball out of his hands.
I don't even think I think they're going to start off not doubling because of UConn center.
Okay.
I think they're going to see how he holds them, how he holds Edey, and that will kind of show if they're going to help off of any of these shooters because if he's somewhat holding his own, Edey's not going to be able to kick it out for those open threes. So I think that the first few possessions will be really telling us how the rest of the game will go. But I think Klingon can hold his own for a little bit. But if he gets in foul trouble, that's when it could get messy. And Edey, they're going to have to start doubling him. He kicks it out. Are they going to hit threes? All
right, just getting back to your nonsensical or biased or whatever you want to call it comment about
what that
Purdue.
was.
I mean,
no, hold on. You said your piece. Okay. They don't suck, and they're not garbage. They're the number one seed in the bracket,
And they're in the national championship.
and they're in the title game
To win it all.
Okay. So no, they don't suck. To use your words, or they're garbage, whatever it is that you used. Look, I'm an Indiana fan, so I'm going to be a little bit more biased towards Purdue just by picking them. I want them to win to represent the Big Ten. However, if I was to lay it down a bet, yeah, I'm going to say UConn is going to win it. It's going to come down to me. It's going to come down to the two big men because what's going to happen is UConn, their center's not going to score. The likelihood is he's not going to score 25 or maybe even 30. His job and his goal, in my opinion, is to just simply contain Zach Edey and don't let him get 30 and 16. And you want those perimeter shooters. The reason why they're actually shooting 48% in the field is because, again, when they start doubling or triple teaming Zach Edey, okay, those outside shooters are going to be extremely wide open, and they're not going to have a lot of contested shots. When you have shooters that can shoot, and there's no hands in the face, and or the defense rotates to the ball to them pretty late, they're going to have an open shot, and the likelihood is they've been hitting it half the time. That's why, to me, the center at UConn is probably the most important player on that team because all they're going to start doing is feeding Zach. Remember, in the last game, I believe in the Final Four or prior to that in the Elite Eight, I believe Zach Edey was fouled over 25 times. 25 times he was fouled. You get in foul trouble, he's going to just dominate the paint. And then UConn, the likelihood is, could potentially lose this game. But you got to stop him first.
So now here's another thing. UConn has been facing teams that keep the teams that they're playing only keep the opposing teams. Like, say, if UConn played them, they would hold UConn to an average of 39.1% field goal percentage. That's what they faced in this tournament. So UConn basically has faced not too tough of teams on defensive side.
They're the number one seed. What do you expect?
Can't that
doesn't that also
contribute to good defense though?
Exactly.
Yeah. But let me finish my statement here. Now Purdue only lets I lost it. Go on. Say what you were gonna say, Zach, because I lost it.
Well, basically, what's going to end up happening is that right now they're able to not having to deal with someone like a Zach Edey right now, and UConn center has just been having a field day down low, and he's the one that's been unstoppable. Okay, now he's not going up against a 6'8", 6'9", or 6'10", typically power forward who actually plays a center in college. He's going up against someone that's 7'3", 7'4", okay, who's averaging 30.16 rebounds a game in the tournament. Now, what I want to see is how he holds up as Zach Edey. Everybody's worrying about Zach Edey and the UConn center. No. Let's flip the roles around. What I want to see is how does he hold up against Zach Edey, and can he stop him, and can he slow him down? Because if he can't stop him one-on-one, they're going to start double teaming him, potentially triple teaming him. Those guards are going to drop down low, and all he has to do, and he's a pretty good passer, all he has to do is just kick it right out because he has confidence in his guards and they can shoot out. That's why they're averaging over 48% field goal percentage overall. And because Zach Edey is allowing the outside, the perimeter really wide open for those guys. He's the one that needs to be stopped. And he and the UConn center has to slow him down. He gets in foul trouble. I'm going to tell you right now, I really do believe that Purdue will win because they need him in the defense just as much as they need him in the offense, because he gets the offensive rebounds, he gets the defensive rebounds, he stops the other team's big man. He has not faced anyone this entire season anything close to Zach Edey. That's the matchup that I want to see, and that's the matchup that's going to decide the national title game.
I mean, he's right. Zach Edey pretty much shut down DJ Burns, excuse me. DJ Burns had 8 points, didn't really do anything. I mean,
other than crack jokes in the paint.
I mean,
because Zach Edey said he made him laugh.
Yeah, I mean, it really shows that Zach Edey is that good of a player, because DJ Burns heading to that game was hot, like really, really hot, and he shut him down. So I mean, he's definitely the most important player on that team right now.
Were you able to find that? Were you able to find what you needed to say? No? All right. No problem. But we'll see tonight's game. I believe it starts a little after 9 p.m. I think UConn's going to win, but I'm pulling for Purdue because I'm a Big Ten guy. So, go Hoosiers.
I'm a UConn fan.
So, okay. Anyway, moving along. The next topic that actually occurred sometime, it probably happened last night, but it was in the news this morning, and that's John Calipari actually taking and should be finalizing, if he hasn't, a 5-year deal with Arkansas. And there are rumors that's the reason why he went to Arkansas, besides the fact whether he was run out or not. I'm not buying into any of that. Is because, he has a billionaire friend who went to Arkansas, Jerry Jones. He is an alumnus, from Arkansas. But that's what they're saying, which is fine. It's not really a big deal. But as far as Calipari going to Arkansas, it's not basketball haven. When you think of Arkansas, you really don't think of basketball. You predominantly think about football. That's that state's big sport, so to speak. But Calipari going to Arkansas, moving from Kentucky. And it's actually, I'm a little bit disappointed, to be honest with you, because I know people are going to say in 15 years he's won a national title, went to 4 Final Fours. Just a few minutes ago, it was brought to my attention by Zach that I believe he hasn't even managed to be in, at least in the Final Four, I believe, since 2016. I could be wrong, but I believe it's
been a while.
It's been a while. In the last 3 years, he's 1-3, won one tournament in 3 years, losing to a 15 seed St. Peter's, who eventually advanced to the Elite Eight, and then eventually losing this year to Oakland, a 14th seed. People want to give this man accolades and what he did. But in my opinion, because of where he was coaching at Kentucky, which is the minor league system for the NBA, he underachieved. People want to say, oh, he did what he went to the Final Four and he did win a national title. But we all got to remember this man, basically, since 2009, at least one player, and years after multiple players in the same year, I believe 1 year, 5 players went into the NBA and got drafted, was playing for him. So in 15 years, you win a national title, you go to the Final Four 4 times, you haven't done anything since 2016. And we want to give this man kudos for what he did in Kentucky. I can't do that. I personally can't do that. You have probably the most NBA players that you coached in Kentucky. They're in the NBA right now. And you did nothing with these players. At minimum, you should have at least won, I'm going to give you at least 3 national titles. At least 3, in my opinion.
That's kind of a
I
lot.
don't know about that.
You know what?
2, I think 2 would be fine.
You know what? And here's why. Again, this is a man. First of all, I don't feel sorry for him. And here's why. This is a man who 1 year, these kids should go from high school to the NBA. Man, that didn't work out. Man, I can't grab these kids.
They won a title doing that.
But then all of a sudden, 1 year rule. No, they should stay for 1 year. Okay, so he thought he would get an advantage. So what happens? All of a sudden, one and done. It didn't work out to his advantage. People got to understand, this is a man who literally supported high school to the NBA, 1 and done, then goes 2 years and done, then, no, let me go back to 1 and done. So he's the one that pushed all this, and it backfired on him because it didn't work out to the way he wanted to. He probably had thought, you know what, I could get 1 and done, but I'm going to go to multiple Final Fours. More so than what I went into. I'm going to win multiple titles. Multiples meaning more than 2 as far as I'm concerned. And it didn't work to his advantage. Yes, great coach. I am not taking away anything of the fact that what he did at UMass, what he did at Memphis, and what he did at Kentucky. But when you are in Kentucky, you are at basketball haven. Anything less than I'm not going to even say national title, anything less than a Final Four appearance, it is a failure. Every single year for Kentucky. If we're going to put Kentucky up here, then I'm going to hold you to that standard. I'm not going to just shift the goalpost because poor Calipari.
No, I just don't agree with that.
You know?
I mean, there's so many good colleges, and, like, if you get in the same bracket as Duke or Carolina or UConn, like, to expect them to make a Final Four and to say it's like a loss of a season or a failure, I don't necessarily agree with that. I do think, like, you should be making it every 2 to 4 years a range, but, like, every year to say that, I think it's a bit crazy.
Well, I agree with you, considering the fact you can't even get past St. Peter's and Oakland.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with
Now,
that.
wasn't-
Final Four is a little...
I mean, that, like I said, 2016, 7-8 years ago, depending on how the season gets calculated, you're looking at 7-8 years, give or take.
That's not what I disagree with.
No.
That, like he said, has done literally
That's not
nothing.
What I disagree with. I agree with that.
Now, what's inexcusable is them not making it
Making it where?
Making it where?
to the tournament.
Yeah, that's still 1 year.
That's still inexcusable.
I agree, but it's 1 year.
It's inexcusable.
I mean, you're really harping on 1 year.
I'm not.
I mean, North Carolina.
He's
didn't
still
make
good
it.
Yeah,
coach.
North Carolina didn't make it,
Like,
what, last year, I
some
think?
teams-
I get
some
it.
Teams just don't make it a year. Like, I mean,
1 year, something like that. I'm
but
not going to.
The thing is, when you make it 3 years in a row, or your last 3 appearances, and as Kentucky being high seeds, and you only win 1 game, that's what we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah,
But I mean,
that's
you have-
understandable.
but you have a bad season, and you don't really recruit the best for that year. I'm not just obviously he goes for one and does, but for any coach, I mean, sometimes you just don't have the best recruiting class coming in. Sometimes you get hit with injuries. Sometimes it's just not your year. But to really harp on 1 year, I don't
North
necessarily-
Carolina didn't make it, I think, last year. And,
no.
and the next year they're the number 1 seed. So 1 year, I mean,
See, I'm not harping on him for that 1 year. I'm harping on him for that 7-year span.
That's
but-
fine, but say that then. Don't say the 1 year.
But that 1 year he did not make it though.
I know.
but you just said that 1 year was inexcusable.
It is.
Yeah.
It's kind of
It's
it is
1
to me.
year.
In my
That's-
opinion,
okay,
it is to
okay.
me.
Okay, and I can respectfully disagree.
That's yeah, I agree.
But what I expect from him at Arkansas, I'm not going to say he's going to make them into the next Kentucky.
I'm interested to
But
see
I'm
where
curious.
his coaching goes. Like, is he going to stick with one and dones? Is he going to go back to how he used to be with Memphis and UMass? I'm interested because it's like you said, it's not the best basketball. They've had some good teams. They've had some decent runs. I'm curious how his recruiting is going to go.
But let's remember Eric Musselman, who actually took the USC job after Ensfeld went and took the SMU job from USC. Okay. They didn't make the tournament this year, Arkansas, but the last 3 years they've made 3 Sweet 16s and 2 Elite 8s.
yeah, I know.
So it's very important to take those 3 years in perspective, or even the cumulative career at Arkansas by Musselman, and that's going to be heavily, and I am going to anyway, heavily compare that to what Calipari does. Now I'm going to give him the first year. I'm going to give him the first year.
You gotta give him his contract, his 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I'm going to give him.
What's he gonna do?
I'm going to give him. No. And I'm going to give him the full contract. But what I'm saying, when I'm going to give him the first year, I'm going to see. I'm going to say, okay, he's got to think about how the transition. He's got to think about the transfer portal. He's got to think about the players that are going to either leave or going to stay. Because I believe one or several Kentucky players are already entering the transfer portal. It doesn't mean that they're going with him. I'm just saying he's entering the transfer portal. So I'm going to give him just that one transitional year to figure out what he wants to do. Me personally, you want a one and done player or 2 one and done players, that's fine. But like I go back to my previous episode in this podcast, it's exactly what Jay Wright said, former coach at Villanova. You have to have a few veteran players that are going to be there for 3, maybe even 4 years. Mix in one and done player like Oakland. I'm not saying Oakland had a one and done player, but those guys were there for multiple years. They knew the system. They knew their strengths. They knew their weaknesses. They knew what they needed to do to win games. And that's why when you run into a team like St. Peter's, you run into a team like Oakland, those upsets will happen. It's happened to Kansas. It's happened to Purdue. It's happened to Duke. It's happened to North Carolina. It's even happened to Kentucky. This year, it just happened to have been done to Kentucky.
And to even add to that, like those teams that, they have those transfers, like they actually bring in transfers that for a couple other teams for another couple of years. That way they already know, like, kind of expect with the college, and then, like, when they transfer, you can kind of fit them into your scheme. Like, typically you're going to recruit transfers that fit your scheme, like even going in that direction too, like grabbing some transfers that are going to fit your scheme and how you want to run your offense. Like that's what some teams are doing, that make those late runs. Like I think Goki was a transfer from another college. He was either his first or second year with Oakland, but he came in and he fit what they wanted to do.
Now, a team that was pretty bad at using the transfer portal to their advantage, my favorite college basketball team, Syracuse.
Wait,
how do you
just said UConn was your favorite team?
Man, my favorite team is Syracuse. It's not UConn. It's just this game. It's UConn.
Bro, you really are sending mixed messages to the audience out there, bro. Me personally, I'm watching these episodes. I'm gonna be like, bro, like, who does he follow? Who does he like? Who does he not like? Well, everybody knows you don't like the Giants, even though you're a Giants fan. We get that, but I'm just saying, you threw me for a loop. You threw me for a loop when you said I'm a UConn fan. Those were your words.
I'm not
mine.
Listen, I'm a UConn fan this game. I will always be a Syracuse fan.
Okay,
in basketball.
But you kind of have to say that though. That's all I'm saying.
My bad.
That's all I'm saying.
My English was off there. My English was off there.
Because
I beat you to the spot.
We are gonna call you out. I don't mind getting called out. So if I get called out, I'm gonna do it as well to everybody else. But as far as the transfer,
I forgot everybody
you guys
here
can take out Syracuse. I mean, I like Syracuse. I think it's a great program.
I thought they had a solid season.
They had a solid season. They just didn't have it. A lot of people didn't have them on the bubble. They actually had them outside of the bubble for the most part. I agree. I think that with Syracuse, look. When you're playing the ACC, what's going to differentiate in my opinion, the teams in the ACC in comparison to the rest of the country, because in my opinion, the ACC is the best basketball conference there is. Okay, that's my opinion, even though I'm a Big Ten fan. However, with those teams that are in the middle of the pack and below, if you want to take outside of winning some games in the ACC, you're going to have to strengthen a little bit more your non-conference, because
this year we did.
Yeah, no.
This year we did.
And they did. But what I'm saying is, if that's the case, then they're gonna have to win some more games in the ACC.
Our problem this year was, for the first time in a few years, we actually beat like the lower ACC teams, but our only good quality win was against North Carolina one time. But like we did play Gonzaga and Tennessee, but like we lost by 20 each. So like the difference now is if you can get those teams that are below the bottom half of the ACC, but then can you pull off some upsets? Can you split against Duke? Can you split against North Carolina?
Can you get shooters?
Can you split between Gonzaga and Tennessee? Squeeze one of those games out, sneak them out,
Or can you get a shooter?
Because we had 20 wins, we didn't have enough quality wins. We didn't have those quality 1 or 2 wins. Like we were really bad against.
I feel like they can get more quality wins. They just need more shooters besides what's his name,
Something Bell.
Cam Bell, I think it is. Cameron Bell.
Yeah, but you win 20 games in the ACC. All you got to do is just scratch out a couple of more wins.
But the Achilles heel was they couldn't shoot. This is what I'm saying.
That's it.
This is why they couldn't beat.
And they still won 20 games.
Yeah,
that's
I get
to me
that.
impressive.
I understand that.
I mean, if you can get one more, go ahead. I mean, you know,
we do need more.
No, I'm sure. I know you do. I'm just saying.
We had one guy shoot over 40%, and then the next highest was like 33%.
I think it was lower.
I'm saying just the next highest.
Yeah, that's not.
We had a lot of players under 30%. It was
that's
bad.
not gonna work,
dude. We had players underneath 20.
It was bad.
Yeah, that's just not gonna work
in 2024.
Well, as far as the college basketball with the Calipari, we're gonna move on to our next subject. Not one of my favorite subjects, but unfortunately, you know, every now and then I have to talk about somebody that I really have absolutely no respect for. Okay, I'm just gonna cut to the chase. Who am I kidding? Okay, sometimes I have to speak about someone that typically is not smarter than a 5th grader, and I'm not talking about the show.
Sorry,
okay,
Jeff.
So here we go. All right, Skip Bayless. Seriously, you made a comment. By the way, he said this. He said this. I didn't. That if he was picking someone in the draft, he would take Caitlyn Clark over Bronny James. Hold on a second. Let me backtrack now. This is him saying at the same time that he can be in the NBA. He is good enough to be in the NBA. Okay. Again, this is after you have literally personally attacked LeBron James. I'm not even talking about his game. I'm sure he nitpicked and split hairs with a stat here or a stat there, what have you. That's okay. We all do it. I do it. Okay. But you literally attacked that man personally. Now you're giving kudos to his son that can be in the NBA. But then he's not good enough to be chosen over Caitlyn Clark. Okay. Now I understand why more than likely you're making these comments. You have to make these comments. Why? Because less than 50,000 people are watching your show ever since Shannon Sharp left. So now it's bad enough that we have to hear ridiculous comments such as Johnny Manziel is going to be bigger than life in Cleveland over LeBron James. Yes, he made that comment. Okay. He made that comment. It is probably one of the most ridiculous comments I've ever made. I would rather get into a debate who the GOAT is between Michael Jordan and LeBron James than to ever make that comment. I would rather lose that argument than make that comment. So which one is? Don't worry, buddy. It's coming.
Few more days. No, like a week.
It's coming. It's coming.
Like a week.
It's coming. But everybody is coming. It's coming. But that's okay. It's going to be all good fun. But at the same time, okay, Johnny Manziel's going to be the greatest thing in Cleveland, even more so than LeBron James. You now want to jump on that bandwagon of Bronny James being in the NBA. And yeah, you still will take Caitlyn Clark over Bronny James. Bro, which is it?
Well,
which is it?
He said if I were the Lakers, I would take Bronny James because who knows how to utilize Bronny James better than his father?
Bro, This is
Talk to your man, Skip Bayless.
Listen. So he knows how to utilize his son. Yes, I'm sure that anyone besides any head coach, any recruiter, any scout, he's gonna know his son better than anybody. I think we all can agree to that, right?
No, yeah,
okay.
I agree, but
Hold on a second. But at the same time, why don't you call out? Because I understand you have to get more viewerships, Mr. Bayless, and I use the term Mr. extremely loosely, okay? Why don't you call out then LeBron James for saying that my son is better than a lot of the NBA players while in high school? Then this year, he said, my son can start with the Lakers. I'm not saying he can't at this point, and I'm not saying he can't. So why can't you bring that topic up? Why is it that you don't think that some of those those Laker players are going to be offended? Why don't you talk about some of those NBA players while he's in high school saying that he's better than them? Why can you bring that up? You're going to make a stupid comment like that? Then go for it all.
see, now here's another thing. Skip Bayless, here's another reason why Skip Bayless thinks Bronny James should get drafted by the Lakers. He feels like Bronny James can be a really good, above average spot up shooter.
Okay, so you're telling me because he shot 32% from the field overall, 27% from the 3-point line, and shot 67% from the free throw line.
Hey, that's your man Skip Bayless.
Averaging 5 points.
Averaging less than 5 points, less than 3 rebounds, less than 2 assists. Remember, there used to be a show on ESPN called Numbers Don't Lie. That actually was a show. Numbers Don't Lie. So I want him to tell me again, bro, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's all I'm asking. Every time we always have to hear a comment from this idiot, from this moron.
Then he's like,
that he knows. First of all, you don't know anything because your partner, your co-host, Shannon Sharp, left. He left. Good for him. He left. Okay? Why? Because you attacked him personally. And that's what Skip Bayless does. He attacks people personally.
If they don't agree with him.
Whether they agree with him, whether they don't agree with him, he takes an opportunity to attack, and that's wrong. You want to attack and say, he doesn't have a left, or he doesn't have a jump shot, he doesn't have an inside game, he can't defend well. You want to throw stats. I think this should be a draft pick. This should go. That's one thing. That's different. But when you start attacking people, that's where everybody should draw the line. And I am so glad that nobody, and I mean nobody, other than the 50,000 people are not watching his show anymore. They should cancel his show. You're paying somebody $8.5 million a year to say what?
You're kind of contradicting yourself there. I'm not gonna lie.
How so?
Because you just said you shouldn't attack people personally. You're calling them an
idiot
and a moron.
No, I'm not.
Come on.
You know what? You know what? You're right. I'm gonna agree with you. Let me rephrase that. I apologize. I'm not gonna. I apologize. I'm gonna take that back. See,
no, he meant it.
No.
He says it every day.
Okay. You know what? I'm not. He's ignorant. He's misinformed. He has no idea what he's talking about.
He's a narcissist.
Okay. The dude, thank you.
He's a narcissist.
The guy is a narcissist, bro. And I'm glad ESPN, whether they didn't renew his contract, I read him. I really don't care what the reason was. I'm glad he's not at ESPN. I love watching ESPN. Okay, I do. I don't watch Fox, so that's just me. Every now and then I do for the sports, but outside of that, I don't listen to that man. But when I read this, you're praising Bronny James, but you'll take Caitlyn Clark over him.
Yeah, I don't know how you can make that make sense, though. I'm going to be honest with that.
See, right now, they're making me go Chris Carter up in here. Right now. Come on, man. Seriously? Man. Come on, man. Come on.
You guys got anything to add on that? Zach, Jack?
I don't even know. I think he's...
I feel like you guys got something to add, bro.
Yeah, whatever you want. It's okay.
No, I mean, it's just Skip Bayless.
It's
He just be
Skip
saying
Bayless.
wild stuff.
It's like Z. He just says whatever he wants. It's the same thing. Like,
I mean, hey,
it could make sense. It could not make sense. He just says whatever he wants.
Dude,
I mean,
straight,
dude,
with a straight
yo.
face said the Knicks are gonna beat the Celtics in the playoffs.
like, come on,
what?
like what?
Come on, man. You
mean-
did say that. You did say that. You said that about
I'm
the best team in the league.
not going to deny that.
All right, I just wanted to make sure.
Okay,
That's
Skip.
all.
I mean, look, he said he was a UConn fan, and then 2 seconds
Bro.
later, he was a Stiff.
Bro, listen.
It makes no sense. Just like Skip
I
Bayless,
apologize,
so, I mean,
audience. All right,
mean-
everybody here knows I'm a Syracuse fan. I just didn't say that to the
I
podcast.
mean,
My bad.
it's the same thing.
My bad. I did graduate from Waterville. I'm sorry.
Listen, I don't know what he means by that. He graduated from Waterville, but I love Waterville.
I don't.
For the record, okay?
Maybe the city, but definitely not the school.
City's not bad, but
School's not the best.
It's not the best, Dad. All right, let's get back to sports.
All right,
let's get back to sports.
Yeah, okay, because we're probably going to get some comments in social
Just
media.
sports,
later on, but
please.
That's all right. We'll stick with sports for now, obviously. All right, so moving along, though. So last week, at some point, Stephon Diggs was actually traded to the Texans, okay, which was he with a 4th round and a 6th round pick, and in return, all they received was a 2nd round pick. My question is, for now, until we see it on the field, who won that trade?
As of right now,
I think the
it's
Texans, for sure, 100%.
100% the Texans.
I mean, you got CJ Stroud and
Because
Stephon Diggs.
also the Bills retained all of that dead cap. Because what happened is the Texans, I think the Texans bought out his last 2 years. So after this year, technically he's a free agent. He's able to be a free agent after this year.
What this trade, okay, for the record, I think Houston got the better deal.
Yeah.
Again, on paper, for now, because we don't know how it's going to turn out on the field this coming season. But what that trade tells me is, with a 2nd-year quarterback, C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, linebacker, defensive end, on the other side of the ball, 3rd pick overall, right after C.J. Stroud. What that trade tells me is, they're all in.
They want it.
They want it now, and they should. And Zach, you and I called it right after that Georgia game. We said that C.J. Stroud was right after the game. You weren't around. You were in Massachusetts. I'm just saying my conversation with him. I'm not saying you didn't say it. I'm just saying you were in Mass. I'm just saying after that game, we said that kid is going to be a stud to what he did to that Georgia soon-to-be NFL defense. Okay, over 400 yards, 5 touchdown passes, and almost single-handedly won that game. It's just that their defense at Ohio State just didn't hold up as they typically do. But what this trade tells me is that they're all in. And earlier I said, I'm going to take Houston again to win that division. And with this defense that they have, they're just going to get better. They just got better on offense. He got himself a number 1 receiver.
I mean, he might have had a number 1 already.
That's what makes them scary. Okay, Nico Collins, one can make the argument. He definitely was his number 1 wide receiver last year. But one can make the argument right now that he is also a 1, maybe definitely a 1A.
Now you got to think about this also. They got Tank Dell, they got Nico Collins, and now they got Stephon Diggs, and they got, is it Schultz?
Who's their running back?
Is it Schultz?
I think so.
I believe it's Schultz.
Their running back is DeAndre Swift.
No, it's Joe Mixon.
Oh, Joe
Is it
Mixon.
Joe Mixon?
No, Joe Mixon.
Is it Mixon?
Yes, it is.
That's a good team right there.
Yes, it is.
Nasty.
And he can catch.
Just Joe Mixon has to stay healthy.
He does have to stay healthy.
Yeah, Joe Mixon does have to stay healthy. But when he is,
He's lethal.
Joe Mixon, go Sooners. When he is healthy, he is a really good, above average running back who can get you 1,000 yards, and he's also a good receiver for a running back. Mm-hmm. So you're just not going to just get any running back out there.
This is exactly what you're supposed to do when you have a quarterback on a rookie contract. You see that he's got it. So now you got to build a team around him while you're paying him dirt cheap.
Because
and
he's
these are
going to
be
cost
some
you.
of the best
Oh,
best years to win it all.
Exactly.
This is
Just like
it.
Brock Purdy. I mean, come on. He had everything around him. Everything around him.
I agree.
Russell Wilson did it early on in his career.
The same thing with Russell Wilson. We just happen to build through the drafts right now and get a couple of acquisitions when we got Cliff Averill, Michael Bennett through free agency, 1-year deal. You just got to put the pieces around that young quarterback. And right now, they're all in. Okay? You saw what they did in the wild card game. Okay? They Baltimore kind of handed to them. But again, young quarterback, rookie head coach, defensive-minded coach.
Still impressive.
So he knows that his offense is pretty much set. He's going to focus now on making that defense better. Okay, that's what he's going to focus on. And like I said, that's my prediction.
No.
My prediction. To me, it really would not surprise me if they make the AFC Championship game.
Would not
Potentially
surprise me.
against Kansas City.
Still running to the Chiefs early.
Yeah.
That's what I.
Let the Bengals get them.
Again, provided they don't run into the Kansas City Chiefs prior to the AFC Championship, because we know the Dolphins won't.
So now another question here.
Dude.
I had to.
Sorry
I
for
had
the
to.
Dolphins catching
Chill
strays,
out.
but where are the Bills going, man? Like, what are they doing? Honestly,
Well, let's see. That's hard to tell right now. They don't per se have a wide receiver that'll just jump at you. I get that. The one thing that they have going for themselves right now is that they have Josh Allen.
for how long?
That's about it.
But hey, listen.
And the defense.
I'm not comparing Josh Allen to Patrick Mahomes. Not even close. What I am saying is you have to remember, outside of Travis Kelce, Josh Allen is in the same situation as Patrick Mahomes was a year ago. Okay, the man had no wide receivers.
He still didn't. He still didn't.
I'll get to that. He had
So
no wide.
about
He had no wide receivers. And remember, he also, I want to say they were the number one team whose receivers had the most dropped passes. I want to say they're number one, probably number two, but I want to say number one. Yeah. So if I'm Buffalo, I would follow what Kansas City did. They gave Patrick Mahomes a defense. Prior to last year, at best, they had an average defense. Okay, because they had a power at best.
See, now the issue with that statement is they also got rid of a lot of their defensive
That's the
stars.
thing. They had a good defense, but they kept getting injured.
Right.
That's the thing, and now they lost their good players.
got rid of them.
So that's the problem.
And I agree with you, but until again, I'm always going to be the firm believer that unless you basically got rid of everybody, as long as Buffalo has Josh Allen, I'm not going to count him out. It's pretty much the same. As long as you give him a strong defense, receivers that can catch the ball, give him a decent running game, you can go as far. It's the way Patrick Mahomes did it last year, because his offense was, not what it typically is. But their defense was really strong, actually probably in the top 5 as well. And people forget that the wild card in the AFC East is Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. The passing game, at one point with 2 or 3 games left, the Jets only had 10 passing touchdowns. Okay, 10. And that's without having Aaron Rodgers. They only had him for 75 seconds. I'm not making that up, people. Okay? So,
Highlights were him coming down the runway.
literally, that was the highlight. And I'm not making fun. I'm just saying
off the subway.
They only had him for 75 seconds. Literally. A play, maybe even 2, if that. But that's the wild card. But again, and I know that you can't really discount New England because they're going to draft a quarterback. We just don't know if it's going to be Jayden Daniels or Drake May. So that's that in itself, but they're in a rebuilding mode right now, literally.
You also don't know how the head coach is going to be either.
Yeah, and that's fine. But again, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because this is his first time actually being a head coach, okay? Whereas you've got the Dolphins, you have the Jets, and you've got the Buffalo Bills that actually have head coaches that have actually been there for several years. So, again, I'm going to go with Buffalo Bills, and it's going to be the only team
The Jets are third in defense.
Okay. Thank you. That's why I wanted to say top 3, but that's why I said top 5.
So you basically need 2 touchdowns.
That's it. That's all you need from Aaron Rodgers. 2 touchdown games, they'll probably be the. But I'm going to say that Buffalo Bills are going to make the playoffs, and it's going to be the only team out of the AFC that will make the playoffs.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
So I don't
You
know.
know,
It's
Good luck to that.
a hot take, but I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible.
I mean,
I would somewhat agree with you, but after letting all these wide receivers go and letting all their somewhat above average defense players go, it's hard.
and I agree with it. But you still listen. You have a guy that is practically talked about in the MVP race every single year. And I'm just not going to discount him. I'm not going to do that because in this league, let's be honest, in this league, this is a quarterback league.
Yeah.
This is a quarterback league at the end of the day. And they have one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
I don't think he has had to carry his say he had
Wait, say that again.
if he had no
I
wide
didn't hear you.
receivers.
No, I didn't hear you. Say that again. I didn't hear you.
He started saying that he had to carry. Go ahead.
Who had to carry? I was zoning out. I'm so serious.
Has Josh Allen had to throw to like people like Patrick Mahomes had to throw to in the past like what 2 years? 2 years?
You were starting to say that Josh Allen was not.
Well, Josh Allen carries Buffalo to begin with.
But you said
You said they did, that he did not carry.
I didn't use the right words because my
Okay.
English is poop. So
Okay, all right, that's happening a lot, man.
yeah, I got to get it checked out.
I'm just saying.
I gotta get it checked out.
It's happening a
Skip
little bit.
Bayless.
It's understandable.
Yeah, look. He's giving you a nickname, man.
Nah, don't call me Skip Bayless, bro. That's ridiculous.
Don't call me a part timer.
Yeah, okay, Shannon Sharp.
Hey, it's better than being called Skip Bayless.
Yeah, that's
true
true.
too.
That's true.
You know, at least he's got 2
That's
Super Bowl
okay. At
rings.
least you got Club Shay Shay.
You know, hey,
I don't know who that is.
a podcast. So,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, though, in all seriousness, though, I mean, in the AFC East, all these quarterbacks that are going to be in that, it's going to be a really good group. But unless somebody else has any other opinions, many of you have said and brought out the fact that the Buffalo Bills actually have lost a lot of personnel. So if they lost a lot of personnel, who do you think's going to win it?
Miami.
I would say Miami, but like you really can never count out Aaron Rodgers. So I think it's going to be a 3-way race.
Yeah.
Like any one of them, I think it's going to be like it could all be within a game.
But if you had to pick, and I agree with you,
I'm
with
picking
it.
Miami.
It's going to be a 3-way race. I do agree with you. But 2 Miamis, 1 Buffalo. Who do you have?
If they don't bring in a potential receiver in the draft, I'm going to have to go Dolphins.
Okay,
Because I mean, I don't see who he's going to be able to throw to. Like I don't.
fair enough.
And then my wild
And then
card
they
would be
lost.
the Jets.
They lost players on the defensive end, like a good amount.
A lot.
Like they were already had to deal with injuries, and now they just lost the players that they had.
They released them too. They didn't just lose them. They willingly released them.
If Buffalo was the division, with whomever they bring in, if Buffalo wins the division, it's not going to say a lot about those other 2 teams.
It's gonna look bad on the.
It's
other
going to
two teams.
literally look bad.
And it's going to look really, really good on Josh Allen.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is.
Really good.
Yes. And then you can start talking about MVP.
Yeah.
Towards the season, especially towards the end. We just got to see where they are, though. That's all. But, yeah, at the end of the day, though, Texans, I mean.
Texans
or
won
Ravens.
that.
Texans
won that trade.
Because you got to remember they added Derrick Henry, and now you factor in this
Yeah.
new tackling rule. You
Yeah.
factor in this new tackling rule. I don't know any secondary like corners and a good amount of safeties nowadays.
Well,
I don't know
Bro,
how they're going to tackle
we
Derrick Henry.
need linebackers playing
you mean
safety,
like,
bro.
like from behind, though? Or at an angle?
You can't.
anything.
You just can't drop
Anything.
your weight.
No. I'm
all
saying.
I'm talking about.
I'm actually extending your point of view, though.
Okay.
Besides, head to head, okay, and I don't mean tackling, leading with the head. If you're chasing someone from an angle or literally directly from behind, that's not going to be easy.
No, you basically just gotta let them
What are
go.
you gonna
Tackling
do?
in general
What are you
is
gonna
be-
do?
What are you
I don't
gonna
know.
do? Like
I don't-
dive
I-
down and swipe at his feet? Like,
I don't know one running back that's just gonna willingly run straight to you. They're gonna at least try to pull a move off,
Yeah,
which
They're gonna try and
which is
step on you and
automatically
you're gonna
gonna
be like
get you
this.
on their hip.
exactly.
but what they could probably do when they, I mean, that's where it's going to be even more integral to wrap your arms. I hate saying this around the legs.
I mean, I'm gonna be
You're
honest.
gonna have to
Football.
because I don't mean to interrupt, but you have to remember when they would tackle, they would try to tackle, not necessarily leading with the head, but tackle to the point where you feel like they were about to hurt you, right?
I don't even know if you can tackle them by their legs if you're still going to drop your weight. Like, if you spin and try and drop your weight, I still think that's a penalty. And you tell me you're going to do it to Derrick Henry, throw him onto the Ravens now? I mean...
Football is going to be very
I'm
tough this year.
It's going to bring up
From the
from
the defensive end, or if there's a turnover on the offensive end too, so which will become the defense. But I don't know how you're going to be making all these calls the way they are. Like, how do you expect?
It's all opinion. It's all opinion.
It's all going to be subjective.
Yeah, subjective.
What happens if a couple of tackles are done, no penalty, and then all of a sudden towards the end of the game, that literally is going to. I'm telling you now, this is going to cost somebody's team. This is going to cost a team a win.
100%.
They're going to make this call, and it's just going to be like,
bro. It's like you didn't make it the whole first, second, or third quarter. But
can they change it before the season starts?
No, it's already been voted on.
I'm sure they could. I don't think.
No. I don't mean. I mean, can the committee?
They're probably going to just, have call for a year, see how it goes, and probably I don't know.
It's going to be awful.
I think considering it's approved, they're gonna.
It is gonna be.
I would like to. I would like to see how it is in preseason. That's what I would like to see. I would like to see it in preseason.
We'll have to wait and see.
What I feel like, if the players don't think it should be a thing, it shouldn't be a thing.
I mean,
you're adding a new thing with tackling every year, like trying to prevent injuries, but you're asking these defenders to shift and torque their body, like
at full speed.
Yeah,
and one guy going the other way, and you're going the other way, the opposite way.
They're going to torque their body in these positions that, like,
you're gonna end up on their legs.
Thinking about how they should tackle rather than just making the tackle, and by default, they're just going to hurt themselves even more.
I mean, there's a meme out there where the running back is running, a defensive guy literally, instead of tackling, picks him up in the air as if he's carrying him sleeping and places him on the ground.
Do that to Derrick Henry.
Via Uncle Keith.
I think
I
seen Kevin Hart do that. Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. So listen. So what they're trying to do is make the NFL regular season. They're trying to turn it into the Pro Bowl.
They're just trying.
Basically.
Their whole thing is player safety,
and I get that,
but the players don't have an issue with it.
No,
they do.
They do.
They have an issue with it when they have when there's serious injuries or where it can be avoided.
This is an issue.
They said,
"Oh no, this rule is an issue."
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm talking. The rule is an issue. I'm saying players don't have an issue with that. With the they didn't want.
Am I an alien?
They didn't want that.
Come on, bro. The English is crazy.
Bro, listen. They didn't want that rule to be established. Is what I'm saying.
What's your point about saying
they
that?
want?
They didn't want that to be a rule.
You just said they did.
No.
Am I tweaking?
No,
because then you said.
Am I tweaking? Did he not just say this is what the players wanted?
Yes.
If you go back, you could
said that the players didn't have
literally see that I said they didn't want it to be a rule, bro.
They're just trying
basically.
Their whole thing is player safety,
and I get that,
but the players don't have an issue with it.
No,
they do.
Man,
like, come on, bro. Continue.
We gonna play it back, and you go
continue, bro.
I feel like we need to take that corner and call it the peanut gallery.
Like, it's just it's annoying right now.
Every time you just mess up, bro.
Continue. I didn't mess up. I know what I said, bro.
Bro said, "Oh, they're not going to complain about the rule," and then you say that they are. I don't understand.
Well, we'll say this. I will say this. Within in the next couple of weeks, it's going to end up being obviously the NFL draft, because in about 2 weeks. The NFL draft is going to come about, and it'll be interesting in what's going to happen. That's all I'm going to say. And at this point, I'm not going to speculate any further, or none of us probably want to speculate until the draft happens, unless something dramatic like the Stephon Diggs trade happens. At this point, I think everything that needed to be said has been said, and I personally just can't wait for the draft, because I'm curious. Seattle, please, Bo Nix or Michael Penix Jr. That's all I'm asking. No disrespect to Tom Seattle. I know, but can I dream?
I really wonder who they're gonna pick though. That's
Probably some defensive line.
Probably defensive
would be
end.
my guess because
Defensive
we
end.
don't have any
hey, I mean,
A running game.
y'all picked up. Who's that corner again? What's his name?
corner. I'm talking defensive end.
Def-
I know, but
Defensive
I'm
end.
talking about corner. Who was that?
Devin Witherspoon.
Witherspoon.
Yeah, that was shocking for y'all. I mean, y'all were shocked last year when they got picked, and he's looking at really good.
I
I'm
was
not gonna lie.
shocked, but then like I
But-
seen like what he did, and I
Yeah,
was like, okay.
yeah,
yeah.
I was just expecting defensive lineman because that's what we've been needing.
We suck.
Yeah, y'all
with our
just,
front
y'all
defense.
just flat out.
Yeah, it was
y'all
just
ain't
bad.
good.
This is bad. That's all.
They've been getting-
We're going to be bringing this episode to a close. I just want to thank our viewers, our audiences, for supporting us. Please don't hesitate to send us any comments, any suggestions. We would take it under advisement. Please pass that along to your friends, relatives, anyone that actually enjoys sports. Please hit subscribe, hit like, and again, thank you for all your support. God bless you and good night.